live. I think we might be live. We had a few technical issues. Sorry, guys, for a bit late. Welcome to How to Come Out on Top in TV and what to do next with other unanswerable questions. I am so excited to see you today. My goodness, this tech stuff is hilarious. I'm telling you now. I'm getting the thumbs up from the Vikings, so we're all good. Welcome from around the world. We've been so lucky. You can see his reflection there. Can you see the Vikings reflection? We've been so lucky, actually. This is the third week I'm trying this FaceTime live situation. It's been really amazing to have your feedback and to hear what you're up to and what you've been up to during this bizarre time, this lockdown. The reason I'm doing this is because I really feel it's important that we all reach out to each other and embrace each other in this sort of unknown circumstance. All right, so we're here. I should introduce myself, shouldn't I? My name is Yana Groves. I'm a TV producer and a trainer, and I do training and mentorships for people who want to get into the industry. I do a bit of coaching for people who want to do a big career change or a little career change. And that's why, it seems like a really apt time to have a chat to you all and see if there's anything I can do to help you. Now, really cool things happening today. We have been gathering advice from key industry leaders. We have been getting the juice on what's cooking in the production companies. And we'll have some tips on how to make the best of a difficult situation. We'll also be talking to, as you might be able to see here, special guest Jasmin Parkinson, crew guru, TVCV boss, and all-round heavy hitter in the TV industry. So we'll be talking to her shortly. Stay tuned. All right, we're on. I love it. Okay. We also have ways for you to get in touch, ways for you to improve your CV, and make sure that you're well positioned for when those floodgates open. So really, how are you? I asked this last week as well. How have you been feeling? I think right now it's so important that we take care of ourselves and make sure that we're feeling strong and positive and keep those creative juices flowing as much as possible. All right. I think it's time to bring in our beautiful guest, our special guest star, Jasmin Parkinson. Hello.
Hey, Yana.
Hi, there she is.
Hi. How you doing?
Aren't you looking fabulous, darling?
From the waist up, but thank you.
I'm wondering, I actually have to ask, what are you wearing under that?
My leopard printer.
That's
Hoodies,
perfect.
of course. Feel like a newsreader.
Shall I do a demonstration of what I'm wearing?
Please.
Oh, gosh. Trainers and activewear. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's what we call smashing the magic. Jazz, thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome.
You are an incredibly important person in the industry. You do amazing things. You've worked on incredible shows like Survivor, Love Island USA, Big Brother. You've literally covered all the big shows, or most of the big shows in the last 25 years. Tell us about what you've been going through during this lockdown.
Yeah, I've been really, really lucky. I have done fantastic large-scale productions, and I've done some smaller, not-so-great productions. But, I've been really lucky. And, I'm just really pleased to be able to chat with you and maybe help some people who are struggling at the moment or, trying to make a break into the industry. So, I'm just here to offer any tips and advice I can offer.
We're so lucky to have advice from people like you because I know that I've had to apply to you. I've had to send my CV to you. And I think at this stage, the big question on people's lips is, what do I do next? How do I get myself out there? Where's my next dollar coming from? How am I going to get back into the job market? How have you found it? I mean, you had some difficulties yourself when COVID-19 hit. What were you up to?
Yeah, I think for all of us, I think it hit hard and fast and so unexpected and shocking, really. I myself was in the middle of production. We were in rehearsals and, yeah, we had to evacuate from an overseas location. It's taken a couple of weeks to really come to terms with that and process that. And I think now it's, really making the most of this time and, taking the time to get your resume, in shape and connect with, your production managers and line producers and bookers who will pretty soon, be crewing pretty hard and fast. So I'm here to offer any help I can. For the month of May, I'm happy to offer anyone who wants their resume critiqued or help reviewing their resume, because sometimes we don't know how we stack up next to somebody else. Contact you, DM you, and get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help.
That's such a big deal. That is such a big deal. We'll talk about the details of how to get in touch shortly. Fantastic. You also know about how to handle and deal with the well-being of crews on a normal day, on any given show. We're dealing with some really tricky situations right now. So what advice do you think you could offer?
Look, I think the most important thing is for everybody to know, this will pass. It will come to an end. So it's just creating your own new normal, I find for myself as well. Just doing the things that whatever you can bring into your life that is your normal, whether it's your daily exercise or keeping in touch with friends or, a little bit of socializing, 1.5 meters apart. Just trying to create your new normal, I think, and not watching too much news and media can be overwhelming. Definitely limit that, and just take the time to rest. Take this time to recuperate, because for all of us as freelancers, we're always busy, burning the midnight oil. So take the rest, enjoy the time with your loved ones and your family, which is rare for a lot of us. So I know I am. And, brush up on that CV, your resume. I can't stress how critical that is. I think a lot of freelancers think, oh, everyone knows me, but a lot of people don't know you, and you are only as good as, your last 3 credits. So keeping your resume up to date is so key. Yeah,
it is key. And I've been trying my best to, reach out to various people and just have a chat and find out where they're at, how they're feeling. And actually a lot of great ideas have come out of this time. I've got several developments in process, and we're just trying to get our pitch documents sorted and, looking into the nitty gritty and doing the research for various things. But CV definitely, and knowing where I want that CV to go, because it's very valuable. I mean,
yeah, really.
what sorts of situations have you seen that you think perhaps won't make it across the line?
Definitely when people don't really know that, or they get the name wrong of the show they're applying for. That's a favourite.
I think I've done
know the show you're applying for, know who you're sending it to, try and personalise it and tailor it to the job. We've also we've got 20 top tips for your CV, which I'm happy to give to you and your followers. That's just, my personal advice, which may help people, their resume stand out.
That is so important, and to have that inside knowledge is phenomenal. That's another thing about this time, because many of us are working from home, and because we're not in production and full of all the complexities and the time eating that productions require, we are able now to really think about how we're approaching and how we're selling ourselves. The person who I've been who's been an incredible mentor to me and is a Bloomtime media mentor, Marion Farrelly, Maz Speaks, shout out to Maz, is an incredible woman who talks about how to be seen and how to be interesting. So I think those things are really key too. So what information have you gleaned along the way?
Look, to be honest, it's gone very quiet. Obviously, I think, like everybody else, we're just watching and waiting, following the crisis. We're waiting on further announcements at the end of the week about work, people getting back to work, which sounds like July. But, again, all production companies are, in their own assessment modes, pulling their own COVID safe workplace practices together at the moment, in line with Safe Work Australia, which have released a bazillion pages of guidelines. So I think the production companies are now just assessing show by show what can come back and when, and, the guidelines. It's going to be a very, very different workplace. I think it's good for everybody to start to wrap their head around that. And it's going to be for a while, 12 months, I would say, to expect to be doing a delicate dance. Yeah.
That's it. And I've been getting pretty much the same response from the industry leaders I've been speaking to. I'll let you in to a little bit of what they've been saying to me. The wonderful Evan Wilkes, who is co-head of Unscripted for 7 Studios, took some time to have a chat with me. And he's saying it is time to think outside the box. None of us have any idea of what's next. That's pretty much what most people are echoing. But he says we need to adjust to what may be ahead, and that productions are going to have to consider how best to work with ever-changing restrictions. That's the key. And we need to think about what kinds of shows we're making and how we shoot them. I see this as an ideal opportunity to get creative juices flowing and start to think differently, because we have so many really, really great, strong formats that we've been producing for years. And they will continue. They will continue maybe in a slightly different way. But to have the freedom to think outside the box and come up with new ways of shooting, new ways of telling story, using the technology we have. I mean, look at us talking now on Facebook Live. It's quite amazing. So I think that's really, really positive in some ways. And I think if we can be adaptable, if we can adapt and move with the times, I think we'll do really well. And you probably know the block started shooting 2 days ago.
Yes, that's exciting. I did have a chat today with Dr. Sam Hay, who's a GP and consultant to a lot of major production companies. And again, this is speculative and nothing's been formalised yet, but just to give you an idea of some of the measures that we can expect to have in place. We may be expecting all crew to be COVID tested and to present those results when they return to work to your production management. There may be temperature testing daily, which has started in the UK for commuters and back to workers. You'll see, more working from home, obviously the 1.5 metre rule. It may be the end of the open plan office. We may see more dividers, more perspex, crews of under 100, I would anticipate. And also breaking up those crews into groups. So should there be a suspect or confirmed case, rather than shutting down the entire production, we may be able to self-isolate units. So these are all massive considerations productions are, issues that they're dealing with at the moment, and, the liabilities of production companies have to assess. And again, it's probably going to come down to an insurance policy issue. A lot of research still has to be done with insurers, with the production companies, and their exposure. I think you'll also find meal breaks will be separated, no high fives and handshakes, no more cookie jars. Makeup will reduce to touch-ups. You're looking at audio departments and radio mics, like touching. It's going to be really limited. Everyone's going to have to get really creative, and I think it's just kind of wrapping your head around that. Really, is the big one.
Yeah, and I'm feeling like I don't mind if there are restrictions in place. I think it's good to have that sort of high standard of hygiene and be aware, and I think we have to embrace it and just go with the flow. We don't know what's next. We know there's going to be an announcement on Friday. We don't know what that means for our industry or for our personal lives. Is it okay for us to all return to work? And how do our offices look? Like you were saying, I'm pretty happy working from wherever. I'm lucky enough that, in my job, I can work from a shared working space. Well, not so much now. But I also get to work from home, which is fantastic. But I think there'll be a limited amount of productions that can follow those new restrictions.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think there'll be a lot more work from home, a lot more Zooming, and a lot more, monitoring the crew. Like any cold and flu symptoms, you just will not be allowed to go to work. So I think for a lot of crew who, are chomping to get back, just to be prepared for those restrictions. And it may, you may have a contract you're excited about, but it's still, it still may be reduced, or there may still be time off, or, it's just it's going to be an ever-changing landscape. So, yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. Are you bored? What's going on with your
Not at all. I have to say the first few weeks I struggled with, because going from 1,000,000 miles an hour to zero was difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not good at doing nothing, but now I'm really relishing the time, because I do believe it's going to fire up soon and fire up quickly, and I think there will be a crewing frenzy, and I think everyone should just get really ready for that. And I think, I think everyone should stay positive. All the networks, from what I hear, are chomping to get, productions rolling. So, just stay positive and just be as prepared as you can.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, right? Because we don't know what prepared means. That's the headline. No one knows anything.
But be ready to jump.
Be ready to jump, yes. And I think that's really cool news. So I spoke to also Sean Murphy, head of programming at Warner Brothers Australia. He says he thinks, fingers crossed, we may be back in swing by July. Who knows? It all depends on what restrictions are lifted and how we can maneuver with the new guidelines. He says shows with a track record will sell and they'll be up and running again. But trying to get new shows for networks could be tricky. Government rules will stand for quite some time. So I think what I'm hearing from most of these executives is it's looking like a year to 18 months. So he said we have to follow the different guidelines and protocols. He also agrees, stay in light contact. I think that's very clever when he says stay in light contact. Stay in light contact. Don't hassle people. But reach out. Reach out. I think that's absolutely key at this stage. And he said watch government guidelines and restrictions. So that's good to know that. And by the way, one thing I can tell you is that industry leaders, heads of productions, heads of development are working harder than they've ever had to work before. I mean, have you found that the people you're dealing with or talking to are so busy they can't even answer the phone?
Look, exactly right. I put a few calls in and they're just, for want of a better term, balls to the wall, busy, just scrambling to getting, all their own production schedules and policies and procedures in place, and getting ready to move and getting all the approvals and talking to insurers. And it's never been busier, and not being able to have that office face-to-face contact with their colleagues again is difficult for them. So yes,
well, hopefully we'll be able to help them all soon.
So just enjoy the break in the meantime.
That's another key thing. Everyone's saying enjoy the break.
Oh yeah.
calm your farm. You'll be, and that's easier said than done because people are, waiting for the next gig. They don't know where the next dollar's coming from. So I totally get it.
Yeah, and definitely like the big internationals, is a worry. Obviously, we're not going to see international travel for a long time, probably. And, like Survivor, Bachelor in Paradise, SAS Australia, we're all watching eagerly the Trans-Tasman bubble, hoping and waiting, and that's all looking very positive. I'm sure everyone's been seeing, sick to death of all the news, but, there's talk of hopefully August in time for ski season. Australia, New Zealand will have that bubble, and there's talk of the Pacific, the South Pacific, being tapped onto that. But look, we can just watch and wait. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping more may come to Queensland. That's personally. So we shall be watching and waiting, and we'll be ready.
It's wonderful. Look, Jazz, the last time we did a Facebook Live, it went around the world. And so, I think we've got to see our industry as an international commodity, which it is. We've got friends from UK in the house. We've got Croatia. We've got Dubai, Brazil, Norway, Sweden. We've got people from all over the world. So, look, guys, drop us a little message, and let us know that you're here and you're reaching out, and let us know your story if you're feeling like you're isolated, or tell us what's going on in your country. Tell us what's happening with your production companies. Tell us what happened to you. We do have a couple of comments. Here we go. We have Joe Siddiqui. Hi, Joe. He says, "Hey, lovely ladies. So great to see you, even if only online." Well, look, it's all about the social distancing. It's all about the social distancing. We also have a little message from Alex Mavrodakis, who will be with us in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks. Alex from ITV, big shot in telly, dying to hear his insights. But he's asking, can you please wear the Batman costume behind you?
Very funny. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, same old. Very funny, Alex. Very funny. Don't worry. We'll get him back when he's on in 2 weeks. Can't wait. And you better be wearing a Batman costume.
My office isn't as fancy as his.
Oh gosh, we also have the lovely Helen Dowsley, who is a head of makeup and hair and makeup. She's phenomenal and worked on huge shows too. That's really nice. It's good to know that you're out there. We're here for you, and just knowing you're there means the world. So keep those messages coming. All right, we have a question from Scott Pope. He says, any ideas of how this will affect talent working together? Good question. What do you think, Jazz?
Very good question. I have heard with Neighbours, for example, with their 3 units, I believe they have only 3 actors in any scene. Drama's not my space, but definitely there will be limitations with cast. And again, this is an issue. If any key cast go down, again, it will potentially halt production. So these are other issues. The same restrictions, with the social distancing has to come to play. I don't know how The Bachelor and Married at First Sight is going to run. So that's, those close contact shows, I think, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think it will. And really, this is what productions and production companies are having to think about now. So many different scenarios. What happens if there's another spike? What happens if one person comes in contact with somebody in a restaurant? What do you do with that production? I think we talked earlier a little bit about crew being ready to be adaptable in the moment. So yes, you may get a job. You might be back to work in July. Who knows? You might be back to work in July. But it's about being prepared and ready for shows shutting down if they need to.
Yeah.
Which is a scary thought. I hope that answers your question, Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. So, look, I also want to say I've got some really, really good news, which I think is awesome. And this is from Fiona Spees, who's head of production at Fremantle Media. So she says it's go from now for them. It's go from now. And I think it's go for a lot of production companies. But she's saying that they're making the most of their lost time. They're making shows, they're peddling, they're pitching. And they're hoping to crew frantically for upcoming shows really soon. Now, here's the rub. This is what she wants. Please email CVs to her. This is amazing. To Fiona Spees. She is really getting herself geared up for a crewing frenzy. And says, she says, take extra time off now because it's about to kick off. So they've shifted from crisis mode to a focus on coming out the other side. I think that's really positive news. Equally, I know that she doesn't know what will happen. Friday could change everything. I think that there may be a rollout to looser restrictions. We don't know. But the good thing to know, and the headline here, is that production companies are getting their content together, they're getting ready to crew, and they're getting ready to bring people in. So I'll give you that email address. It's productionjobs.australia@fremantle.com. And we will put that on the Facebook page after this broadcast. So productionjobs.australia@fremantle.com. And that's open to, anyone who wants to reach out and say that you're available. Okay, so I think that's really cool. All right, so that's really what I feel is important to share. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And stay in touch. If you're watching this and it's not live, still send a message, reach out, send an email, info@bloomtimemedia.com. If you want to know what Bloomtime Media is up to or what we do, www.bloomtimemedia.com. Don't need to say www anymore, do you? You say bloomtimemedia.com. Is that right, Jazz? You're still here. Jazz, do you want to is there anything else you want to say? Coming to the 30-minute mark, but I'd love to hear your conclusions here.
Oh, look, thank you for having me, and I hope I haven't bored everybody, but just this is really precious time. Just enjoy it. It's easy to get down about it, but there's nothing we can do about it. So, try and stay positive and know, life will return to normal soon. And I look forward to, chatting with everyone and working with everyone and seeing everyone on set soon.
I do, Jazz, I can't thank you enough for being here. It takes a lot. We're usually behind the camera,
Yep.
But to show our ugly mugs on not you've got a gorgeous mug, but to show my ugly mug on camera is a little tricky because we like to hide behind the camera.
Only for you, Yana.
Oh, babe, thank you so much. I think it's really valuable. We're getting some really nice messages. Matt Stephen is saying, thank you, lovelies. David Sue loved it.
Hi, David.
So we've got some really lovely messages, and it means the world to know that you're with us, and together we can get through this. Now, listen, next week, Jazz, we have Angie Greaves, who is a presenter in the UK. And she's having her own experience of lockdown. We're going to hear some really exciting stuff. As I said, Alex Mavrodakis will be joining us the following week. ITV. He's the guy that makes all those juicy shows like Love Island, Big Brother, and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So he's really worth a listen to. And we've got Lindsay Vine, who is a development executive for Asia. This is important. All of these chats are going to be key. They'll definitely be important to tune in. So listen, Jazz, I can't thank you enough. You've been an absolute star and legend as always. Thanks, Jazz. Goodbye.
All the best.
So thank you guys again. So what have I got here? I've got a message saying... Yes, so all of this information will be on the Facebook stream after this session. And any information you need, get in touch. Drop me a line, PM me. Or email, info@bloomtimemedia.com. gmail.com in the corner there. I always do it the opposite way. Thanks so much. Take care of yourself. Come out on top and have a lovely week. See you next week, Wednesday, 4 o'clock Sydney time. Ciao.